Here's the first view of the Columbia River as I'm on US 30. Another still shot of the river in the background, and here I'm just videoing as I'm cruising down the road along the Columbia River on US 30. Me cruising down 30, and that is Route 80 or Interstate 84. Just some scenic views. These are more just views of eastern Oregon as I'm riding along. Just more scenic views, pictures of Oregon and its vastness. Selfie with the picture in the background. Older couple just fishing along the Columbia River. Just some historical signs depicting the Oregon Trail and Old 30. And the sign actually says Old Highway 30. I have no idea what this is, some kind of machinery, but it was in this little town with these signages here. I'm sure it had something to do with agriculture. This is just talking about the saloon in town, a couple shootings that happened. In this little town, there's deer in somebody's backyard. Just some more Oregon Trail historical signs. Panoramic view of the wide open valley. It's from a scenic shot. And here I'm heading towards Dead Man's Pass. Just Oregon's first views of the Oregon pine forest. These trees are 50 plus feet tall. Very peaceful and serene. Cruising down the road. And at one point, I just luckily stopped videoing and going along, and there was a boulder slide where some big boulders. Biggest one was probably about a 2-foot diameter rock boulder sitting in the middle of the road. But luckily I wasn't going very fast going around the corner, so I was able to avoid it. I'm through Dead Man's Pass, and this is my view. And where I'm, oh no, oops, this was a scenic overview that I wrote up and to see what it looked like. And it's just what people on the Oregon Trail when they first see the lush Oregon valleys. Now this is after Dead Man's Pass. When you pop out, this is Oregon's version of Tail the Dragon that's down in the Smoky Mountains. This is just coming down out of the eastern mountains of Oregon, and the views as I'm coming down into the Columbia Valley River Valley. And just some more Oregon Trail info. Another view of the Columbia River. So those of you that remember the computer game back in the late 80s, early 90s, the Oregon Trail, this is the Dalles. It's waterfalls, but the name of the town is the Dalles. And right before this, I saw a sign that said Walla Walla, also something out of the Oregon Trails game. I have no idea what this is a picture of. I just took it because it was different. I've crossed over the river over into Washington because I'm staying in an Airbnb tonight. So it's just across the river. And I'm staying just outside of Portland. And this is part of the Lewis and Clark Trail. Mount Hood. This is the next morning. I get up, I'm heading back over the river to Oregon and on Route 30 on my way to Astoria. As I'm going over this bridge you just saw, this is a massive lumber yard. It's full of poles, as in probably for the most part utility poles. That's what they look like, power poles. There's thousands of these poles in this lumber yard. I'm at the end of the road, the end of US 30 in Astoria, Oregon, and the first thing that comes through this parking lot that I'm taking a break at is an Astoria Fire Department truck. I'm in this parking lot for two reasons. One, these signs show at the end of US 30. US 30 ends and 101, US 101 starts. Right here in Astoria, right at the river. The other reason I start in this parking lot is because of this coffee shop. It is called The Journey's End. And it is the end of my journey on US 30. So that's why I stopped at this coffee shop right at the end of US 30. I meant to show these each as I finish each segment of US 30. But again, as I said at the very beginning, I started in Mansfield, Ohio, and followed US 30 through Indiana, Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, into Wyoming, Idaho, and then into Oregon, where I finished up in Astoria. After I was done with my coffee, I just rode around a little bit, taking pictures. This is an old cannery that they turned into a hotel, a salmon cannery. And so these are just some pictures depicting the history of salmon fishing on the Columbia River in Astoria. I'm not really sure what those are. This is some kind of rescue boat. This is just an odd boat that has that window. I was on my bike and getting ready to leave as I noticed the fire truck that went by me when I was at the coffee shop. It was sitting out in front of its firehouse, so I decided to stop in, ask if I could use their bathroom, and I ended up spending about an hour in there just BSing and talking with the lieutenant and his crew at this Astoria Fire Station number 2. Okay, now I need to head north into Washington. To get there, I gotta cross the Columbia River over this bridge. Next stop in about 3 hours is visiting with my college buddy. And this is a video of me going over this bridge. It's a little over a mile long, if I remember right. Enjoy the view. I know Lori would hate this. She hates bridges. That bridge is part of US 101 Pacific Coast Highway, and this is just a couple pictures of along on my way to a little town outside of Olympia where my buddy lives. Now, I forgot to ask, so I'm not going to say him and his wife's name, but my buddy I stayed with had a very nice visit, a good time staying with him. But this is the next morning after I've left, and I'm heading to Glacier National Park. And these are mountains as I'm just starting to go through the Cascades Mountains on the way to Spokane, where I'm spending the night. And Don Thorpe, you are even famous out here. You got a highway named out in Oregon named after you, Thorpe Highway. And a Thorpe fruit stand. I'm just always in awe of the vastness of the United States out west, how far you can see. These are just some pictures of the plains, the high plains of eastern Washington after you get out of the Cascade Mountains. My buddy warned me how windy it is after you get out of the mountains going across these plains on the way to Spokane. It was very exhausting fighting the wind the whole way. It was a good 2.5, 3 hour ride through this wind. And because of the wind and having to fight it, this wasn't a very long day. But tomorrow, I'm on to Glacier National Park. Good night, and I hope you enjoyed this video.